Hey, dudes. Jonathan was wrong here. Truth and budget. I don't know how to fix the thing from rattling. It's as tight as it can be right now. Hopefully it doesn't rattle too much on you. But anyway, happy Sabbath. I actually ended up getting a day off today, believe it or not. Spent half of it in bed, relaxing as I require. And still a beautiful day, so I decided to get out and go for a walk. So now I'm driving to my place where I walk. Because you don't want to take a walk in Hull during the summer, during the day, because it's just people everywhere. It's no fun. Anyway, so someone who seemed like a nice person was asking me the other day about the whole Mandela Effect thing. And she seems pretty keen on it. And so I just kind of basically wanted to discuss the Mandela Effect and why I think it is not true. Not to insult anybody who's really deeply into it, but I think it is all nonsense. And here is why. First and foremost, time is not a force. Time is not a thing. It could be... Time passes and it could be measured, but it's not a force that could be manipulated, such as heat or, sound or, anything else. Same thing as, what they call gravity. There's no such thing as gravity. It's buoyancy, density. That's up, that's down. If something's denser than its surroundings, it falls. Excuse me. But so... there's no these things are not forces, and that's where a lot of the confusion, thank you, comes from. Is that people think there's a there's a force of gravity. There's time is a constant force and all this stuff. No, time is there's no time per se. It's just it wouldn't make sense for there not to be a present tense, it just time they there could when there's a force, you have to think about there being a lack of that force. All right, there can be a lack of heat, there can be a lack of sound, there cannot be a lack of time. Time is a constant. There's no manipulating it, none of that. It's not a thing it's not a force. It cannot be manipulated. So so first and foremost, there's that. That's a big kibosh. You're not gonna alter time because it can't be altered, because it's not something that can be altered, because it's not a thing. It's not a force. All right, next, moving on. So let's get into the dimensional stuff. If people think we're being brought into another dimension, they're altering dimensional forces, blah 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 blah. Okay, so anyway, there is the heavenly realms. There are the heavenly realms, and then there is Earth. Earth is God's footstool. He made it, and He is in complete control of it. He would not allow people to mess with it the way that people say that people at CERN or whatever are messing with reality. God would not allow it. There is not the ability to alter reality is outside our scope. That's something that demons can do. It's something that basically that's an angelic, heavenly force to alter what is real in Earth is a heavenly force. Now, they could do it on the small scale. You see magic tricks and all that. They could do it on the small scale. Can they completely change the Earth? No, they can't. What they can do is they can take DVDs and and when they re-release an old movie, they'll take it and they'll change stuff. And then a couple months later they'll have some shill, some gatekeeper, some COINTELPRO, some whatever, be like, hey, isn't that weird? Like, look at this. I just found this. I just happened across this. You know, isn't that strange? They must be changing reality. When what they're doing is they're just going back and they're just changing old movies. They're remastering things all the time. It's very difficult to find original copies of things. Look at the original Star Wars trilogy. Go try to find an original copy of that. You know, it's tough. And they did all this stuff on purpose. The fact that it is difficult to find the original versions of things is on purpose. They're doing that stuff so they can change things, because you have to keep in mind they have all the money, they have all the power, they can run as many psyops as they want. They got all the time until the end, and their time is spent deceiving us. All their time, effort, and money is spent deceiving us. Thanks, Subaru. Thanks for tightening up that turn and not totally leave me out there like that. But anyway, so there's that. God wouldn't allow things to be changed. God would not allow people to just like bring us into a new dimension. That just doesn't make sense. Why would God allow that? He wouldn't. This is his footstool. He's not going to let Satan take his footstool and friggin' reupholster it. It's not going to happen. You know? He'll let Satan, put his feet on it for the time being, but he's taking it right back. Satan might run the show on earth, but it's just temporary. God's taking it back. He doesn't have the right to alter. He's just taking up residence. It's like when you're renting a room and you can't, put up new wallpaper. That's kind of the deal. What is that construction for? What is that there for? What is that doing? Anyway, okay, so there's that. And the fact that there being old media being changed, they're just changing it, or it's people like not remembering things. Sometimes when they'll relabel something, they'll rebrand it, and they'll just slightly change the name of something. That happens. That's not uncommon. I've worked a long time in retail. I've seen plenty of package changes. That's just part of retail. That's part of sales. If things are dragging and you feel like it's time for a rebrand, you rebrand. And that's just what they're doing. Like the whole Berenstain Bears thing. I grew up on that stuff. It's different. They changed it. It's not reality changing. It's them changing stuff and like putting out new books under a new name. All that stuff. I remember it. All right. And since I don't watch television, since I don't do pills, since I don't drink, since I don't take part in any social media and anything else that's going on nowadays, ruining everyone's minds, my memory functions, and I remember these things, and a lot of the things that were quote unquote changed on us were just changed now recently. And where are you going to go to look stuff up? The internet. Later, Subaru. There's a little sneaky way to pass people there. And she needed to be passed. She had no idea what she was doing out here. She's a butterfly in the wind, and I don't have time for that. I'm an eagle. I got places to be. But anyway. So, there's that. They just go back and change stuff very easily. Where do people get their information? Friggin' what? The Wikipedia? That could be changed by anybody at any moment. Look at Google. It's controlled. The way they know how people gather their information, so it's very easy to bottleneck and control that information. Excuse me. Hacking stuff up. So yeah, easy squeezy. You run the show, someone asks you a question and you just lie to them. That's it. You know? I think a lot of it is people just not having a good memory and not remembering stuff, and people being like, oh, it was actually this, and them having such a weak grasp on reality that they're like, oh, okay, I guess so. Because that's the thing. There is I hate motorcycles. There is an orchestrated attack on reality. And this is why. So they could just be like, oh, no. You know, we're in a different dimension now. And people will accept that. People will be like, oh yeah, that could happen. We could be in another dimension. There's no dimensions. That's more BS. What is there, fourth dimension? Yeah, there's nothing's two-dimensional, nothing's one-dimensional. It might as well not even be a term. Yes, we live in the third dimension. Does that mean there's a fourth dimension or a fifth or a seventh or a 13th? No! That's stupid. That's dumb. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter how much math you can do to show numbers that will supposedly mean something. It does not change the fact that you can't have more than 3 dimensions. And nothing exists that is two-dimensional, and nothing could ever exist that was one-dimensional. These aren't things that exist that are physical. These are concepts. People seem to confuse concepts with something that could be real. And that is the main purpose of all this math. It's to take something hypothetical and to be like, well, look, it can work because of this math. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a bunch of math. Just numbers. It doesn't mean anything. You could assign, purpose to numbers, but it doesn't change the fact that it's just a number. You could do whatever, you could call whatever you want. It doesn't change the fact that it is what it is. And numbers are just numbers. But can't think of anything else off the top of my head right now. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, if you want to go case by case basis, sure, do it, do it in the comment sections. Show me some case by case, and I'll talk about it. Oh, the Bible, there's one. Hey, guess what? They come out with new versions of the Bible all the time. They have since 1982. They're constantly, I have a Bible app on my phone that is constantly being updated, even though it's supposedly the 1611 King James Bible. So why does it need to be updated like once a month, But that's just on my phone. I have a physical Bible that's over 100 years old. It's ancient. That is my source for Bible, because that cannot be changed. It's mine. No one's coming into my, wherever I'm currently storing it and magically altering it. That doesn't happen. What they're doing is they're just rewriting new versions of the Bible that are nonsense. Very easy. What is interesting about that, though, is that they can't, no matter how much Satan wants to, change the Bible and make it gross and weird, he still can't change the big 3, and that is that Jesus Christ is God in the flesh, that he died on the cross in our place, and that he was resurrected. They can't change those 3 facts in the Bible. They can change a lot of stuff in the Bible, but they cannot alter that. Very interesting. What is also interesting is that they wrote their own versions of the Bibles to alter that, because they couldn't alter the Bible itself. That's where you get the Gnostic texts, and that's where you get the Quran. And both in the Gnostic texts and in the Quran, they say that Jesus was not the Son of God, did not die on the cross, and therefore was not resurrected. So they had to go out of their way to try to retcon that, because they couldn't alter the Bible. Think about that. Think about that, seriously. So clearly, the Bible at its core is Holy Spirit protected. As much as they mess with it, they cannot change the big 3 facts. They cannot do it. They can't do it. And that is beyond telling to me. That is evidence of God's hand, in my opinion. What are you doing? Just fucking pulled in. Excuse my language. People are just driving like absolute. It's a combination of being stupid and a coward that just absolutely just like it like. What's this kid doing? What are these kids doing? What the hell's going on here? Anyway, hi. Okay, yeah, Bible, movies. All right, branding, CERN. I think I've covered it all. As far as a quick overview. Like I said, if you want to get into specifics, comment, link, whatever, and I will respond to it. I know for a fact that there's no such thing as the Mandela Effect. It is not real. I know for a fact that God would not allow things to be changed. I know for a fact that time is not a force. I know for a fact that the things that I remember as a child, that I remember them correctly. I know all these things to be true. There's no amount of anything is going to make me doubt any of that. Especially God's power and God's hand and how He would not allow, because then He would lose, if He's just allow them to like change the reality so that, the reality, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't add up at all. God would just allow them to just, like do whatever and win while He just is like, well, oh well, I don't even know. I can't even make a fake scenario where that is like funny or like possible. It's just super dumb. It's super dumb. It's the dumbest thing. Why would God allow that? He wouldn't. Come on. But anyway, that's about it. Questions, comments. Once again, much love to my to the people that do believe in the whole Mandela thing. It's just look deeper. I feel like a lot of the people that do are younger. Because they already have a broken sense of reality and a broken memory, so it's a lot easier for them to be like, oh yeah, I guess so. Nothing's real anyway, right? Read that in Buddhism or Hinduism and every other BS New Age religion that's being forced down everyone's throats. Nothing's real. But anyway, that's it. Questions, comments, and I will try not to be too condescending. It's my tone. I can't control my tone. It's my tone. It's how I sound. Can't control how I sound most of the time. People always think I'm like angry or yelling or like something's an argument when I'm just speaking. Can't help it. Don't know what to tell you. But anyway, yeah. I will be kind if you have questions in the comment section, because I don't want to berate anybody. I just want to be like, hey, this is dumb. Stop thinking this is real. This is dumb. But anyway, gosh, I'm saying anyway a lot. I love you guys so much. I really, really do. Have a beautiful day. It's a beautiful Sabbath. And God bless you.